Welcome to the Women's Connection. I'm Barrie Switzen, your moderator. The Women's Connection is a program about events shaping women's lives and helping one gain authentic power on a personal or professional level. So won't you stay tuned? Health and beauty go hand in hand. Unfortunately, with our lifestyles, as hectic as they are, we don't always have time to take care of our health. And that is the core of our existence. And with me tonight is Dr. Julia Hunter. And we're going to talk about our skin, staying healthy and beautiful. And I would like to welcome Dr. Julia Tatum Hunter. Welcome.
Thank you, Barrie. I'm delighted to be here.
What made you get into the practice of dermatology?
Well, I really started my medical career as an anesthesiologist. And I sat in the operating room and I thought to myself, we really need to prevent this. Now, when I was in medical school, I was always the person who said, aren't we supposed to be curing people's disease rather than just what I thought was treating the symptoms, meaning cholesterol, blood pressure, everything, that we needed to do the step before just giving people pharmaceuticals, and that was to basically find out why do they have this disease and to treat the problem. So I was always asking the why question, why do they have that? And I was driving myself crazy in the operating room as an anesthesiologist with why do people have this and what can we do to prevent this? And isn't there a step that's before mammography and prostate screening, which is true prevention? So I was the anesthesiologist in the operating room that when people would come down from the intensive care unit, I was hanging IV vitamins and IV minerals and vitamin C and haranguing the surgeons about the fact that people needed nutrition in order to cure the problems and to heal and to get well. So subsequently, I started working with the plastic surgeons because that's happier surgery. And I thought to myself, we really need to prevent this. So ultimately, I had the opportunity to go back and retrain as a dermatologist. And I did that because I really wanted to combine health and beauty, because I really saw from my experience that without health, you really could not have longevity of beauty, and I knew that that's what everybody wanted.
And I'm really glad to hear that because my grandmother was always one who said, you are what you eat. So how do you change a doctor's?
What your grandmother told you about you are what you eat is really the essence, and I see it every day in my practice. One of the things that I'm always bemused by is the fact that people say, I eat healthfully. But in fact, what you find when you have the opportunity to be with those people more intensely is that a lot of people, the vast majority of people, don't know how to eat healthfully. They don't really know what defines that. And what's most important is that no matter what I do for your skin, if you don't have the building blocks, because say you come to me for a cosmetic procedure, or if you have psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, and I'm trying to cure that problem, I'm creating a construction site, and you need really good construction materials in order to build a really firm foundation in a good skincare house, as I call it. So I teach my patients how to eat. Number one, I am a tremendous fan of Eat Right for Your Blood Type, that book. And the reason is because if you don't eat right for your blood type, you create more inflammation by what you eat in your body, and inflammation is the cause of all disease and aging. So number one, I'm trying to slow down the ticking of the clock. Then there's also what's called, and you can Google this, the Bali diet, B-A-L-I diet, which is very much about keeping low insulin, avoiding sugars and grains. Although I also say to people, Barrie, that I know that life is meant to be lived, so I am also about how do we eat, drink, make merry, and not suffer the consequences, because I'm not into deprivation. But you can eat really well, and it can be very tasty, and so you don't feel deprived. And so that's keeping you younger, slowing down the ticking of the clock, and preventing disease to a large extent.
what everybody comes to you for. They want Botox, they want plastic surgery, they want all kinds of different things for their face, especially, let alone their bodies. What do you say to them?
If you do the things that slow down the ticking of the clock, if you eat healthfully, which again, to expand on that a little bit more, is green, and more green is the most important thing. You just cannot eat enough green. I teach my patients about what vitamins and minerals do we really need to take? Why do we need to take them? We're using food as our medicine for starters, but there's a certain amount in today's stress-filled world of supplements that we have just got to take because we can't get enough from our food. We don't have time to eat enough is what it boils down to. So it then goes to that, and then I've got my patients using skin products that are therapeutic, meaning that there's we're awash, as I love to say, in a sea of skin products and technology also in today's world. And so what I'm trying to do is give people what works, best tool for the job, best use of time and money. So that also includes skin products that are therapeutic concentration, so that I don't say to you, oh, you're getting great results. You see it. The people who surround you see it. That's what therapeutic skin products do. You see your skin lift and tighten, the redness decreases. And then if I do that, my patients need, and I put that in quotes, need, my patients want less Botox and filler, although I do plenty of that, because they don't need it as much. Their body's working at a more youthful level.
What ingredients should people avoid in their makeup, in their cleansing products to help start the process on the outside?
That's an extremely important question because that really encompasses the essence of prevention. Because if you're using ingredients on your skin that enhance inflammation, and inflammation's the cause of all disease and aging, you're really thwarting why you're buying those products. And my belief is you want to spend your money on what helps and not what potentially exacerbates. First of all, on my website is a list of all the ingredients to avoid, some of which increase inflammation, some of which disrupt your hormones. And I'll tell you what some of the big offenders are. For starters, sodium lauryl sulfates, which you should avoid in any shampoos, any cleansers, any soaps. So when I tell people not to use something, I try to give them some alternatives. They read the ingredients of everything they put in and on their body. But sodium lauryl sulfate, the parabens, and there's a bunch of them, methyl, propyl, butyl, all the parabens. Triethanolamine, which mimics as estrogen in the body and can really cause some serious hormonal disruption problems. Propylene glycol. Propylene glycol enhances inflammation tremendously. The mineral oils that are synthetic, the ureas. Oh, I can go on, but my website, skinfitnessplus.com, has a whole list of them that people can go to and start avoiding those things.
Eliminate all these fancy names from our products. Then we start concentrating on what we eat. Now, you mentioned that we eat greens and more greens and more greens. Let's concentrate on some hormone issues as far as what to be aware of, because the population is aging. As we get older and go through menopause, our hormones change. What is the best food to help us through this transition?
For hormones, everybody's hormones, men and women, start dropping about age 27. So that's why in women you begin to see PMS symptoms, their menstrual issues, bleeding, etc., become much more problematic sometimes. Breast tenderness, fibrocystic breast disease. Men, they begin to get a little bit of a stomach because their testosterone is dropping. Because of stress, DHEA, which is a hormone that comes out of your adrenal glands and is anti-stress, it's pro-immune system, and it's very anti-aging. That starts to drop. If you're burning the candle at every end, working like a dog, and have a lot of stress, your cortisol drops, and that's when you feel exhausted, either in the morning when you get up, or in the afternoon after lunch, you just are dying to take a nap. You have to replace those hormones at a certain age with bioidentical, but some of the foods that will help you keep your hormones at a more youthful level are, again, I go back to Eat Right for Your Blood Type book, which is a great guide, the Bali diet, exercising, even though that's not food, exercising is still very important, keeps your growth hormone up, helps with your thyroid, your master gland. One of the most important things, and there's an epidemic of hypothyroid in today's world, low thyroid, and that makes you age more quickly. But again, green, and more green, meaning the darker the green, the better. Kale, kelp, arugula, spinach. As far as fruits, the darker and the more tart, the better. Cranberries, blueberries, pomegranate, raspberries. There are a lot of people who have allergies to blackberries, dark cherries, but again, the more tart, the better. Then with women, I mean, what are some of the reasons that we avoid soy to a large extent with men and women? With women, when they're younger, their estrogen is high enough overall, but as we get older, our estrogen levels are decreasing, but normally progesterone is the first hormone that goes. Estrogen, progesterone are in a ratio, and so you don't want to be eating soy, increasing your progesterone, increasing your estrogen if your progesterone is too low, because then you have symptoms of too much estrogen. And soy mimics, it's a phytoestrogen. With men, estrogen, too much estrogen increases their prostate, the size of their prostate. And so that's when men start to get up in the middle of the night. Closer you eat to nature, the better. The more green, lean protein, which is turkey, fish, and then also nuts. Some people have allergies, but raw almonds are something that I really recommend instead of carbohydrates. So that's sort of a long-winded answer to what do you eat and what are some of the problems with your hormones being out of kilter, and that's starting at an early age.
You feel kind of sluggish and you just want, like you say, you get up in the morning, you're tired, you eat and you're tired. Too bad we don't live in Europe where you take a nap after lunch. What can you do to kind of boost yourself, especially if you're at the office? What kind of a healthy snack can you eat?
Well, the first thing is everybody should eat a great breakfast. Breakfast really tells your body what to expect for the day as far as the metabolic rate. So a lot of people who don't like to eat breakfast, what it does is it sets your metabolic rate at a lower level. So those people are much more likely to struggle with their weight. Number one is eat a healthy breakfast. Now, what is a healthy breakfast? A healthy breakfast is not toast, unless if you're going to eat bread, it should be sprouted bread. But bread overall is something that should be a treat and not every day. Nuts are a good choice in the morning, and mix those with cranberries. You have to get them frozen most of the year, but cranberries, you mix some blueberries in with that. In some people, you can do a little bit of goat cheese because most people, their bodies don't like cow's milk. It prefers goat cheese or goat milk is a better choice. The other thing is almond butter. That's a good thing to put on your fruit. And then the other thing that is really yummy to put on there, which fools your body into thinking you're eating chocolate, is raw, unsweetened, the most important, cacao powder. And the darker the better, because it's full of antioxidants. You think you're eating chocolate, but you don't have the sweets. So that, number one, is the best way to start. You eat a healthy lunch, which should be greens, a good salad. The darker the salad greens, the better. Full of vegetables, all sorts of vegetables. More is better, basically. The darker the vegetables as well. And then green tea is a good choice as far as perking you up to a certain extent, green tea. But you don't really have that down feeling or loss of energy after lunch if your thyroid's not low and if your adrenals are not low. So exercise, eating right, but you can also, again, if you do have it, number one, I suggest that you look into checking your thyroid, your adrenal glands. Exercise helps, eating right, and getting a lot of sleep is also a good thing, which is something none of us have time to do anymore.
If you lose your energy in the afternoon and you're like me, I'm a realtor, I'm out on the road showing apartments, or you're sitting at your desk and you have this crash coming in, what can you keep in your bag that will give you that boost till dinner time?
First of all, there are roasted, dried seaweed, which is really tasty. Now, a lot of people, they think seaweed, oh my God, they think it's going to taste horrible. But there's some roasted, dry seaweed. It's full of amino acids. Amino acids basically are the building blocks of protein. And when you eat that, your body has to perk up in order to digest it. Green tea, again. Something else that I suggest to people that they keep with them at all time is those raw almonds. Raw is better. Walnuts to a certain extent. Walnuts have good oil, really good for your skin, and we all dry up as we get older. Cons to a certain extent, but those are a much better choice. And then little products that have green tea in it, not sweetened. Because if you eat things that have sugar in it, what happens is your blood sugar spikes and then it plummets, and then you feel worse instead of better.
With all the green tea, you get stained teeth. Is there something that you can use organically to clean your teeth so you don't get your yellowing?
Well, green tea usually does not stain your teeth like black teas do. You can have a little bit of lemon, fresh lemon, okay? Although too much lemon is really too acidic. But there's also some really good toothpaste. One in particular we use in my office is called Coral White. Very famous holistic dentist, Dr. Jamie Asdare, told me that that is the only toothpaste on the market because of the coral in it, and it's above the ground coral, so it's not coral that's destructive. Fills in the little dentines, the little canals in your teeth, so it fills back in the enamel better than anything, and it whitens to a certain extent.
We're supposed to drink a lot of water, but yet you carry around a plastic bottle, and now there's these new metal containers. What's the pros and cons of that?
Well, one of the things I will tell you that has frightened me immensely is I have in the last year seen a tremendous, virtually every one of my patients has heavy metal issues. Now, in plastic bottles, what everybody's afraid of is bisphenol, and bisphenol disrupts your hormones, mimics its hormones, binds to hormone receptors in your body, and can turn on some bad reactions as a result. So they do have bottles that are what's called inert. They don't react, because remember, fizzy water can react. If you heat up bottles, for instance, if you've got a bottle of water, plastic water bottle that's sitting in your car, when it gets hot in the sun, bisphenol leaches into the water. So the metal containers are much better, the ones that are out now that are non-reactive and that are better for the environment in the sense that we aren't just using plastic bottles and throwing them back into the landfills, because I know they're harder to recycle. Those are a much better choice, because if we are now facing an epidemic of heavy metal issues, and those heavy metal issues are not just mercury, but it's lead, it's aluminum, It's things that we find in the water, in the pipes. In Manhattan, for instance, I have a number of patients who have heavy metal issues, and they're strange heavy metals, and they come from the water. Beverly Hills, uranium, you see it, and it's in the water quite a bit. And why do you care about all this, the bisphenol, the heavy metals, all of it, for your skin is because it basically ages you much more quickly. It decreases collagen production. Your skin works, your whole body works at a much more retired level, and the goal is to keep it working at a youthful level, especially your immune system.
With our stress levels at the peak, I'm sure everybody's cholesterol levels are high also. What is the best food to reduce cholesterol?
Number one, if your cholesterol is high, your thyroid is low. Now that's a huge controversy in medicine, because there's some people who treat the blood work, and they'll get the thyroid blood work and they'll say that your blood work is perfectly fine. But what we all know is that the blood work just measures the presence of thyroid and not the activity. So you also have to give the patient a whole list of low thyroid symptoms, and if they have those, then their thyroid needs to be treated. If your cholesterol's high, if your blood sugar's high, your thyroid's low, for starters. And number two is, what else can you do to help with that? Iodine, and that's the kelp. They're kelp drops, eating seaweed, the roasted seaweed, seaweed salad. What they found is that iodine is necessary for your thyroid to work. Dark greens, again, you are what you eat, avoiding those grains and sugars as much as possible. It's not to say that you can never have them. You use them as a treat. Exercise helps bring down your cholesterol. I see people who do everything right, but they don't exercise, and you'll never bring down the bad cholesterol, the LDL, unless people exercise. Drinking lots of water, very important. Those are the most important things. The thyroid hormones, men in particular, men and women, as their hormones go down, everything, you see their cholesterol rise, their blood sugars rise. And so don't eat too much. Concentrate on lean meat, fish, green and more green, dark tart vegetables. I even teach my patients in my office how to drink, because life is meant to be lived. And that's tequilas, red wine. Why? Because it has resveratrol in it. Resveratrol, they found, is very good for bringing down cholesterol. Borage oil, quercetin, very good for bringing down cholesterol. Zinc, selenium. There's a whole host of things, and a lot of that is also on my website.
Vitamins. What's your take on vitamins? I take a ton of them, but yet how do I know which ones I really and truly need?
First of all, everybody needs to be taking vitamin D. They found that even babies are deficient in vitamin D. Vitamin D is very anti-cancer. It's used in every chemical reaction in your body practically. And even my patients in Los Angeles, their vitamin D levels are 0. But in New York, London, anywhere above the either longitude or latitude of Los Angeles, they found that you don't make any vitamin D. So my recommendation, from babies all the way up to say 50 pounds, you're taking 2,000 IUs a day. Most adults, 5,000 IUs a day, and everybody's taking way too small of an amount. You need to get vitamin D blood levels done anytime that you have your blood drawn. And to be therapeutic, your blood level really needs to be 70. Breast cancer, vitamin D is one of the most important things you can do. 70 to 100 your blood level should be. The darker your skin, the more vitamin D you need. Most of my patients are taking 10,000 IUs per day. Even I, who has Scottish English background, I take 10,000 IUs a day. Iodine, we mentioned earlier, kelp is a good one. Iodoral is one that I use. There's also some iodine drops that you can take that are meant to be taken internally. Iodine, very important. And then come the antioxidants. Vitamin C, everybody should be taking at least 1,000 milligrams twice a day. selenium, 400 micrograms a day, zinc, men and women, 30 milligrams a day.
Before you really go gung-ho on your vitamins, don't forget to check with your doctor first. Make sure you take your tests to make sure you're not ODing on vitamins, which can happen. Doctor, this has just been phenomenal. In the closing moments of the show, what would you like to leave the audience with?
What I would like to leave the audience with is the fact that from health comes beauty. I deal with patients who have psoriasis, who have eczema. In today's world, virtually all the skin rashes that I see that people come in with are fungal, very much caused by we eat way too many sugars. There's a lot of hidden sugars, grains. There are a lot of blood types that don't like grains at all, and it causes fungal overgrowth in our body, which ages us much more quickly, slows down collagen production. Whether I'm using the best lasers, the best skin products, if your body is trying to retire, everything that I do will work 30 to 40% or less at best. So number one is you are what you eat. From health comes beauty. And what I find is that by creating beauty, I make people, their cholesterol, all their internal issues, blood sugar, diabetes. My patients, if I am addressing the thyroid and the epidemic of hypothyroid, if I'm dealing with their heavy metal issues and getting rid of that, and one of the things that I'll throw out in the way of foods that helps with that is cilantro and parsley and kelp, kale. Those things really help with the heavy metal, getting rid of that with a detox. Think of beauty and health as building a house. You want to build a really fine house. You want to build a house on a firm foundation. It starts with what you eat. It goes on to your thyroid, your adrenals functioning well, your hormones, which are anti-disease, and then the skin products, the lasers, all those will work infinitely better, so you spend your money more wisely and you get the results that you're looking for with health as a side effect.
Dr. Julia Tatum Hunter, thank you so much for all this information. It's incredible. Are you eating for health, or are you just eating?